Welcome. We are back. Our long-awaited return is here. We had a mildly successful season 1. Season 2 was a little rocky. We did our best. Debbie was away in Africa, serving the Lord. Margaret did the best he could to keep this show on the road, but despite all of that, season 2 was a little rocky, but here we are. Season 3, we're back, and we're hoping that it's going to be for good this time. We have some new software. We have new ideas we're really excited about. We have a new schedule that we're going to try to keep. Overall, Kadin, myself, Debbie, the rest of the team, we are all so excited to bring you guys season 3 of K&A Football. We have a couple new ideas we want to run by you guys in this one. We're going to take you through some of the news that has happened in the last couple of weeks. And then we're going to end this show with something a little bit special. This is going to be the first of many of our new ideas that we're going to run by you guys, and hopefully we'll stay around. So, without further ado, welcome to K&A Football. All right, Kadin. So here we are. We're back. So excited. Why don't you go ahead and walk us through what you're thinking here as we're back for season 3, episode 1.
Yeah, I think both of us are, like you said, extremely excited, Debbie included. Like you said, last season was a little bit shaky and rocky at times. We were able to get episodes up when we could, but that was a very, very few and far between. We only did about, if I were to put a number on it, maybe 5 or 6 episodes throughout the season. And all those episodes were very low quality audio, very low quality picture. And it wasn't the same. It's never going to be the same as when we were back in studio. That was the peak, at least to this point in time. But the vision is, me, you, and Debbie were talking last night, to continue to do this, like you said, have a set schedule of recording, do this every single week, and continue it throughout the off season. As far as I am concerned, I do not believe Debbie is leaving to go back to Africa anytime soon, so we should have our producer and should be able to continue to improve the podcast as well as we go on for this season and the upcoming seasons as well. And we're still learning more things about this software and getting mic situations better, and we're trying everything we can to make this as good of a viewing experience and as fun for the viewers as possible. And yeah, we are very excited to get back to normal podcasting. I know myself, this whole past week and a half at work, I've just been listening to different podcasts and football stuff, and I was like, man, I wish I could record a football podcast. Oh shoot, we're gonna be doing that in a week. So, and here we are. So,
yeah. So, like you said, football season right around the corner. We're getting right into the thick of things. Preseason coming right up. So, for you guys to set your expectations as the viewers, what we're looking for is that this season we are going to be going with 1 episode a week is our initial goal. If things go really, really well, maybe we'll up it to 2. But for right now, we're going to stick with 1 episode a week. We're going to be putting that out either late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning. So be sure to watch for that as we move forward. The reason we chose that is so that way we kind of hit that Monday, Thursday gap. So obviously games end Monday night and then the next week starts Thursday night. So we wanted to get an episode to you guys in between there so we can recap everything for you. And then we can look ahead to the next week. We can give you all the news, give you anything you missed, and then make our predictions. So that's why we're trying to go Wednesday nights for you guys or Thursday mornings, depending on when the episodes come out.
Mm-hmm. And like Austin said, the typical Wednesday night schedule episode will consist of opening the episode with a majority chunk of that episode being recapping the previous week's games and talking about any news that happened throughout that game while we cover that game. So any injury news, any player news we talk about while recapping that game. And then we do, like we still do, picking all of the games, but we'll do more of a condensed version than what we normally did because obviously we used to have recap episodes and pick 'em episodes, and now they're combined to one. So we will do a majority of it recap, and then we'll go through the pick-ems a little bit quicker. But if the game is very important and we want to spend a little more time talking about it, we'll obviously do that.
Right.
And then we'll end some episodes. We'll end every episode with a fun little segment, a different one every single week. Like Austin said, we'll show you that. We'll show you guys those as we continue to get closer to the season, and we'll show you one at the end of this episode. So, yeah, we're excited for it.
Yeah. So, jumping into the meat of the episode here, we're going to take you guys through some of the latest news that has gone down in the NFL, and then a little bit looking forward into what's going to be happening in the next week or so here. So, first thing we have here is one of the NFL's biggest stars, Aaron Rodgers. He came off a bad injury at the very beginning of last year. You guys remember it was literally like first game of the year, big moment. Aaron Rodgers, he finally switches teams, goes from Green Bay to the Jets. Big moment. He comes out for game one, and in the first couple of plays, he goes ahead and he tears his Achilles, which is not great for anyone. Anyone around the league was disappointed to see this. Most but he is saying that he's had a couple good years left. I don't know how old that is. It's old. But at least 2 great years of football. Kaden, do you think that's a realistic goal for the contract goes that he has time left? Physically coming up with a really, given his age, that he's going to have productive years left.
I don't know if I would say it's not possible. I definitely think if anybody in the NFL could do it, it would be Aaron Rodgers. We've seen him be a consistently MVP style and level quarterback for his entire career. I believe that he is going to vastly help this Jets team. Obviously, anything is going to help this Jets team over what they had to deal with at quarterback last season and the season before that, and actually this many seasons leading up to this. Like you said earlier, they had very high aspirations last season. Elite level defense, one of the top defenses in the league, a very great young core offense with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And then Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be the missing puzzle piece and slotting him in at quarterback, and they were supposed to go on this magical run. I think that with their improved offensive line, because obviously last season, in the 4 snaps that he played, he was pressured on every single one of them. And they spent a lot of money, and they really focused on their offensive line this offseason, as they should. If they're going to really go all in and win a Super Bowl and have this QB who's very not mobile, and that's okay. You can clearly win Super Bowls not having a mobile quarterback. But you need to have him be able to stand upright and stand in the pocket and be that pocket passer. So really ensuring the offensive line like they did. I think he does have a great comeback, healthy season this year. Obviously, I don't think it'll be right to the level of his MVP seasons in Green Bay, but I do think they make an incredible jump, and I think he can definitely sustain 2 seasons. I think this season he will be close to the Aaron Rodgers that we know, and then next season will be a little bit of a drop-off, and then he maybe calls it after 2 years.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think that's a pretty realistic timeline, unless he feels like he wants to go to the Vikings and then finish up there, like Brett Favre did. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of quarterbacks, Tua, he got himself a deal. He has a new contract. It is a $212.4 million contract over the span of 4 years. $93.2 million of that will be guaranteed. That's about 44% of the contract is guaranteed money. Obviously, this is kind of a good insurance policy for both parties involved. Tua gets his money in case he gets hurt, and the Dolphins only have about less than 50% of the contract guaranteed, so that way when he gets hurt and if he were to call it quits, You know, no one really loses that much money in this. Obviously, Tua, good quarterback. It's not every day that you find a quarterback like Tua. Is he the best in the world? Probably not, but he is very good. Kadin, is he worth this kind of money?
I think the Dolphins are great in this deal. Like you said, less than half of the money is guaranteed. And as we know, Tua has a very rich concussion history. And that could easily, like a couple concussions down the road, he could decide, you know what, my life is not worth football. Like, I am not going to risk my life anymore and get brain injury after brain injury after brain injury and call it quits. And that's why they only guaranteed him $93 million. And Tua's not going to be a below average quarterback. If he's healthy, he's going to be the Tua that we saw last season and the season before. And that's a pretty solid quarterback. He can get the job done. The Dolphins led the league in yards last year. Tua was very easily able to get the ball to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I mean, sure, those are great receivers. But he did his part. He did what he had to do. And so if Tua's healthy and continues to play like he did last year, he's going to that $212 million is absolutely worth it for that level of quarterback. But say he does get injured, you have that little scapegoat only guaranteeing $93 million of that contract.
Yeah, I agree. Good deal for both sides. They both got away with a really great deal here. Obviously, Dolphins get a quarterback. I mean, that's really what you look for. You can build around that guy, and Tua getting his bag like he wanted. Another quarterback that got his bag, and this is a big one, man. Jordan Love walks away with, I think he's tied for the first most.
He's taken it. He has the new
he took
highest
it.
contract.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so he has the biggest contract in the NFL. It's $220 million. Massive. And he broke a record with a $75 million signing bonus, which is crazy numbers. So that comes down to about $55 million a year that Jordan Love walks away with. Now, Jordan Love, really, really fantastic season in this last year. He finished 7th in passing yards, 2nd in touchdowns. His QBR, he was 9th in the league. So he really did a fantastic job in this last year. But that was his first year starting. That was his first time as a starter in the NFL. Obviously, like we said, he's been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers the last couple of years. Kadin, I'm going to ask you the same question. Is Jordan Love worth this kind of money? Obviously, he's worth keeping around. He's a good quarterback, but is he worth being the most paid player in NFL history?
Yeah, this one's a little bit more conflicting. I can see yes and I can see no. On one hand, the way the quarterback market goes, every single time a new quarterback gets paid, it's going to be, oh, he got the new highest paid contract in NFL history. If we go back to last offseason, Joe Burrow got paid. He became the highest paid quarterback. Then Justin Herbert got paid, and he became the highest paid. Then Lamar Jackson got paid, and he became the highest paid. So every single time a new quarterback will get paid, he becomes the next highest paid quarterback. But on the flip side of that, those are for the elite and elite and elite quarterbacks. I don't know if Jordan Love is exactly considered one of those elite quarterbacks yet. He could very well be on his way. He had a great end to last season. Obviously, he played a phenomenal playoff game, almost then beat the 49ers. I still think it's a little bit early into his career to give him that much money. I think, could he potentially be deserving of that much? Absolutely. But I think either give him a little bit of a smaller deal, because that is an elite quarterback type of deal. Like, him being the highest paid quarterback doesn't bother me. Any quarterback, the next quarterback deal will be higher than that. Like, that's just how the NFL market goes. But I don't know if I would have given that to Jordan Love. I think I would have given him a little less, or waited until this next offseason and then give him that much money, assuming he plays just as good as he did last year. But on the Packers end of it, he could go out and he could play even better than he did last season, and then you owe him even more money. Or another player gets signed during the season, and then you're on the books to give him even more. So I see what the Packers did, but it was a lot of money. So, conflicting sides.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, I don't have a problem locking up guys when they're young. Obviously, you'll remember a couple of years ago, the Chiefs locked up Patrick Mahomes to a massive deal, $500 million, 10 years, and everyone's like, wow, that's crazy. But now you look and you see that was the smartest thing the Chiefs could have done, because now you have all of these quarterbacks like Jordan Love getting $220 million over the course of 4 years, whereas Patrick Mahomes is getting $500 over 10. Like they're winding up paying Patrick Mahomes less money than all of these other guys. So I think that's smart, and I think that that's the direction more teams should go. They lock up a guy for a longer period of time with what seems like a lot of money, but in 3 or 4 years, you're actually paying them less. So,
and every
Jordan
time
Love.
sorry.
Yeah, was that Kadin?
Every time a new quarterback is getting a massive deal like this, the media goes straight to Patrick Mahomes, and they ask him, and they're like, "Hey, how do you feel that like after this? How do you feel that Jordan Love is getting X amount of dollars and you're getting X amount of dollars?" And Patrick Mahomes' response is always, "I'm doing fine. My family's doing fine. I'm supporting my family, and I have everything I want." And that is a great answer for Patrick Mahomes, and I don't know. That's just something I noticed and saw since these other contracts have been getting signed, and I'm like, respect on Mahomes' part. I know a lot of people don't like him because he keeps winning Super Bowls, but he's a professional,
I'm gonna be completely honest with
mature
you guys.
person.
Could not hear a word Kadin just said, so I don't know if that's an issue on my end or what, but we're going to assume that that's a me problem. Debbie, while we figure that out, obviously we have Jordan Love going ahead and building for his future. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to build something for your future, I recommend going to our friends over at K&F Construction. K&F Construction has been serving the Northeast Ohio community for over 16 years, specializing in composite decks. K&F Construction takes the time and effort to provide the service and product you deserve for your home. You can call K&F Construction today at 330-575-2465 for a free estimate. You can also visit kfdex.com, which is linked in the description. K&F Construction, let us build your dream backyard. Okay. Kadin, let's test this out. Can I hear you now?
I don't know. Debbie says that I'm
That
fine.
answer is no. So,
Oh boy.
Kadin, you go ahead and take the next thing. I'm going to try to figure out as to why I can't hear you. You go ahead and take the next one.
We're learning this on the fly too, so we're going to continue to make K&A football as great of a viewing experience as possible. So one quarterback that doesn't have a new contract extension is Dak Prescott. If you guys don't remember, maybe 3-4 off seasons ago, the Cowboys and Dak were in long talks about contracts, and the Cowboys didn't want to pay Dak what he wanted, and he only wanted like $5 or $10 million more dollars, but the Cowboys are like sticklers, and they're like, no, we are not giving you that much money. And it was a long process, and it was like an entire like off season, and then they didn't sign him, played the season. That was the year that he got hurt then, and then the next off season is when he got signed. And now this whole saga is back again, and Dak is probably sitting there. I would imagine Dak is sitting there. He's seeing Tua get signed for $212 million. He's seeing Jordan Love get signed for $220 million. And I just got to imagine he's sitting there just like rubbing his hands together, and he's like, oh, I'm a better quarterback than Tua. I'm a better quarterback than Jordan Love. I guess some people would argue because of the playoff game, but I think that Dak is a better quarterback than Jordan Love. I deserve more money than them. So I can imagine he's going straight to the Cowboys office, and he's like, hey, give me this much money. And they're saying no, just like it was a couple off seasons ago. So I don't think it's going to be any big deal. I think they will be fine. I think they're going to reach a deal. Maybe not this offseason, but again, I don't know why it matters for this offseason. He's under contract for this year, so play. At the same time, the Cowboys have to eventually sign him because their backup quarterback is Trey Lance, and they're saying Trey Lance looks absolutely dreadful at training camp right now. So it's looking like, Dak's going to get re-signed. They wouldn't let Dak go. Nobody would let Dak go. This is just what people talk about when it is July and there's not real football on. So it's a lot of contract news, but I believe Dak will be signed, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I agree Dak will be signed. It doesn't sound like the Cowboys want to give him the kind of money that the current market is offering. But he finished top 3 in all of the major categories, 3rd in passing yards, 1st in touchdowns, and 2nd in QBR. So, I mean, he deserves to be paid more than Jordan Love, but it's really a question of, does the Cowboys front office want to give him that kind of money?
Sticking with
Speaking
the
of the
same team,
Cowboys,
actually.
yeah.
CeeDee Lamb,
CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, you go
absolute.
ahead.
Oh, do you want me to or you two? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
you take it. Yeah, you take it.
okay. CeeDee Lamb, obviously, absolute star receiver. I think most people would agree that he's a top 3, top 2 wide receiver in the NFL. He's on the final year of his rookie deal, and it's the 5th-year option for his contract. He's going to be making $17.9 million this season. That is very, very little money, especially for somebody the caliber of CeeDee Lamb. He saw Justin Jefferson get signed this offseason to a massive contract, absolutely reset the wide receiver market. He saw Amon-Ra St. Brown get an absolute extension. Just now, he's seeing DJ Moore get an extension, as in
I
5
was just
minutes
going to
ago.
talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So CeeDee Lamb absolutely deserves more money. And if I'm CeeDee Lamb, I don't want to play this last season on that contract either. As good as you are, you want to lock up that contract, that guaranteed money now before you never know what can happen this season. You never want to risk playing a season unless you're a mid-tier caliber player and you need to bet on yourself. But if you're someone as proven as CeeDee Lamb, you need to get that guaranteed money and contract before something bad happens. So right now, CeeDee Lamb is holding out, and the Cowboys, like we see with Dak Prescott, are not willing to give him the money he wants. Which this one I very much disagree with. I think whatever CeeDee Lamb wants, you give it to him because he is your offense. I mean, yeah, you have a lot of playmakers, but CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 receiver in the NFL. I think I would say top 2. And if he wants that money, I'm giving him that money. It's a difference of like $5 million. I think you're a multi-billion-dollar NFL team. Yes, I know you have a salary cap and all, but you also spent $9 million on free agents the entire offseason. You have so much money that you didn't spend on free agents. So spend that money to keep your absolute star player in town.
Right. I completely agree. And CeeDee Lamb, he's not even asking to be the next highest paid wide receiver. He told the Cowboys, hey, I know what I'm worth, and I'm worth more than $17 million a year. But I'm not looking to become the next highest paid guy. I'm just looking for something in the ballpark of what Justin Jefferson got paid. And like Kadin mentioned, DJ Moore, just as we were filming this, got a massive extension too. He got $110 million. $82 million of that is guaranteed. So, I mean, CeeDee Lamb has every right to want to be paid a lot more than he is right now, and he's worth it. DJ Moore, good wide receiver, probably not top 3 in the NFL like CeeDee Lamb is. CeeDee Lamb should be getting paid more than that. So we'll see if he can make it work. Is he holding out right now? Is that his plan? He's going to hold out until he gets paid?
Oh, yeah. They say right now. I think he's not even at training camp. I think he's holding out.
Yeah.
Which I would do the same. He's getting, I think, fined every single day that he's not at training camp, but soon he's going to be getting however many $1 million, and the fines aren't going to matter. So I don't normally support players holding out, but I agree with CeeDee Lamb in this instance.
Yeah. And then finally, with the end of the contract news here, we have a guy, he's not holding out. He just wants out, actually. Brandon Ayuk. He is also on his 5th-year option of his rookie deal. He is going to be paid $14.1 million this season. And, I mean, he deserves to be paid a lot more than that. Obviously, his production with Brock Purdy at quarterback has been pretty good. It's really blown up here. He didn't have that many receptions this last year. He finished with 75, which is tied for 31st in the NFL. So not the best in the world, but somehow with being tied for 31st in receptions, he did end 7th in yards and had 7 touchdowns on the year. So that was a big jump for him from not having Brock Purdy as quarterback to Brock Purdy. So, the 49ers probably want to keep him around, though it's looking worse and worse that they actually are. Brock Purdy wants to keep him. He really likes throwing the ball to him, but it's not looking good that he's going to stay in San Francisco. Kadin, what do you think the most likely option is?
Yeah, I know me and you have talked about it many times. I believe that he is gone. I think the writing is on the wall, and I think he's going to get traded. They drafted Ricky Pearsall, rookie wide receiver out of Florida, in the first round this year. And I think right when that moment happened, I think Deebo Samuel was gone. I think that they were drafting his replacement. He's very Deebo Samuel-like. He's a big-bodied receiver. He can move with the ball. He can move without the ball. And I don't think you draft a first-round wide receiver to make him your sixth option, because right now you would have George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and then, am I missing somebody? I don't think I'm missing anybody. I think he would be the fifth. Yeah, I think he would be the fifth option. I don't think you draft a fifth or a first-round wide receiver to make him your fifth option. I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be gone. Right now, he is holding in, so he's at training camp, but he's just walking around, giving water to some of his teammates, just hanging out. So he can't get fined. He's just like, well, yeah, I'm just going to take up space until you trade me. And he's made it very clear that he wants to get traded to Washington. He wants to go play with his college teammate in Jaden Daniels. And I believe the writing is on the wall, and he will get traded. And it makes perfect sense because Washington's very young, at least at quarterback, and they can pair up that college duo. And they have plenty of money. I think they have the most cap space in the NFL, so they can give him the contract that he wants.
Yeah. And I think Washington has even said that they're interested in trading for him. So really all it comes down to now is, making a deal that the 49ers are willing to take. So that's what it boils down to now. Okay. So that's it for the contract talk.
It was a lot.
As exciting as it is, it's a lot of numbers to be thrown around. So up next here, we have big news from our hometown. So for those of you who don't know, Kadin and I are from the Canton area. Means that he is near the closest Hall of Fame. Well, Hall of Fame region is here. He's number one with Hall of Fame game, which nobody watches. Then we also have all of the inductees. So we have all of the people who are going to get their gold jackets. They're going to do the face of they will get their Canton, Ohio, until I guess the place loses money or the world ends. So those guys are Dwight Freeney, Randy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of this man. Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Steve McMichael, Julius Peppers, and Patrick Willis.
Very good Hall of Fame class.
Couple notable names on that list. Kadin, I'll let you, if you want to talk about your guy, you can go ahead and talk about him for just one whole second. We'll just give you 1 second to talk about him.
Julius Peppers is going in the Hall of Fame this year, and he's a Panther, and those don't happen very often. End of story.
Yeah, that's so true. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Andre Johnson is the first Texan to ever go to the Hall of Fame.
I believe that would be true.
I think that's true.
Let me fact check you, actually. I can do that right now.
Yeah, fact check me. Make sure that I'm right about that.
I mean, obviously, eventually, in like 2 or 3 more years, J.J. Watt will be joining him, but...
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Texans are obviously a newer team, so they haven't had the kind of history that gives them a lot of Hall of Famers. So I'm pretty sure that he's the first Hall of Famer out of Texas. He had a fantastic career. Finished. He has 20 overall returns for touchdowns. the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm looking forward to going down there and seeing them and their history enshrined in Canton forever. So, Kadin, I think that wraps up our news here.
Yeah. This one, obviously, it is July. So right now, people are really grasping at things to talk about. They'll see a video of Xavier Worthy dropping a pass, and then they're like, he's the biggest bust of a pick in NFL history. And then the next day, they'll see a video of him catching a touchdown. And they're like, how could the NFL let the Chiefs get this guy? They are going to 10-peat. So, July is for overreacting. Honestly, August is also for overreacting.
Week 1 is for overreacting. Let's be so for real.
Week 1 is for overreacting. NFL fans, as ourselves, like to overreact. Everybody likes to overreact. They see one thing, and they overreact. The Chiefs lose a game, and they're like, Patrick Mahomes is washed, and then they'll win the next 3 Super Bowls. So that's just what we do as football fans, but especially that's heightened in July and August. So right now there's a lot of contract talks, obviously, but we're just happy to have the podcast back.
Yeah. And like you said, everyone enjoys overreacting. Everyone enjoys really blowing things out of proportions. And that's what kind of led us to one of our new segments that we're going to be bringing you guys. So one of our ideas was to, at the end of every episode, we were going to bring you a different fun thing that you guys could kind of look forward to. And one of those is we're going to have either Kadin or I do the segment that we call the Hail Mary. Basically, what this segment is we're going to kind of just throw one out there. You know, it's just kind of a really hot take. Maybe it lands, maybe it doesn't, but it's kind of our last ditch, like really launch one, see where it goes. So today we're going to have Kadin's Hail Mary, and Kadin is going to give us a hot take that he has prepared for us. So Kadin, go ahead and overreact. Take it away.
Yeah. So for the first Hail Mary in K&A football history, the first of many, I'm going to be talking about a rookie wide receiver. He was drafted in the 2nd round this year. A lot of people may not have heard of him. Drafted in the 2nd round, pick number 52 by the Indianapolis Colts, Adonai Mitchell. Sorry, my throat keeps going. Rookie wide receiver, Adonai Mitchell from the Colts. He fell in this draft. He was talked about being a potential first-round pick. Fell all the way to 52. People say for attitude problems. Which, first of all, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. I believe that people falling in the draft for attitude problems is ridiculous. You know who fell in the draft for attitude problems? Rob Gronkowski. Look how he turned out. You know who fell in the draft for attitude problems? Well, kind of attitude problems. Laramie Tunsil. Look how he turned out. You know who fell in the draft for attitude problems? Jalen Carter. He went to the Eagles. Look how he's turning out. So, I think a player falling for attitude problems is fine. You can easily fix those. And if you can't, they just have it. Like, most of the attitude problems are people who are just a little bit of divas, but those guys are a lot of times turn out to be good football players. But I'm going to be talking about Adonai Mitchell. I believe that he is going to be one of the top, if not the top, rookie wide receiver this year. I know you're like, up until 30 seconds ago, I didn't know who this guy was. That's because he was the 11th wide receiver taken. There was 10 receivers taken ahead of him. Obviously, you got your guys who you knew were going to go high, like Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze. But then he was supposed to be in that next little slot. But he, like I said, attitude problems dropped him way down. Last season at Texas, he finished the season with 845 receiving yards on 55 receptions. And he had 11 touchdowns. And he was doing all of this while battling for targets and looks with Xavier Worthy, who obviously went first round to the Chiefs, who everybody fell in love with after the Combine. Xavier Worthy finished the season with 1,014 yards on 75 catches, but he only had 5 touchdowns. This season, he's going to a Colts team that their only real proven wide receiver is Michael Pittman Jr. I can't speak for Austin, but I believe Pittman is a solid receiver. I think he can get the job done. I mean, he's been their one for the past couple of seasons, but I think there is many receivers that can easily surpass Michael Pittman. I think he's a low end wide receiver 1, but he'll be a very high end wide receiver 2. I don't know about this season, but I think Adonai Mitchell will very easily step into that role and eventually be the number 1 receiver. He's only competing with Michael Pittman for receptions right now. He's right now battling with Josh Downs to be the second receiver. Josh Downs was a rookie last year. He had an okay season. I think Adonai Mitchell is way better than Josh Downs. He's a different type of player. Josh Downs is just a speed guy. Adonai Mitchell does have speed. Adonai Mitchell does have speed, but he's also 6'4". That's very good for a wide receiver to throw jump balls to with speed. That's a very dangerous combo for a wide receiver. Adonai Mitchell played at Texas this past season, but he also played at Georgia. So he's played at 2 very prestigious schools in different conferences. He obviously played in the SEC, very hard competition there at Georgia. And he's also played in No, they did not go to the national championship. They played in a Final Four game at Texas this past season. In the game against Washington in the college football playoff, they were down towards the end of the game. They needed a touchdown late. Who did they look to? Adonai Mitchell. He had a huge play to get them down the field. They went to... Sorry, my throat is losing it. They threw to different guys the rest of the drive. They struggled. Adonai Mitchell was very adamant, like, give me the ball. He called for the ball. He used his hands. He was adamant, give me the ball. What do? They threw him a touchdown a couple plays later. When he wants to, he can get the ball and he can score. And honestly, I think being a diva or having attitude problems, in his case, helps him. I think that wide receivers need to be like that. Like, not maybe to the sense of Odell Beckham, where he's making reels and his dad's making Facebook posts about Baker Mayfield and how he's not throwing him the ball. But I think receivers do need to be like, give me the ball, I'm going to catch it, and they need to have that confidence. And I believe Adonai Mitchell does have that confidence. Looking at this wide receiver class, there's guys... Hold on, let me pull this back up. Looking at this wide receiver class, obviously you got Marvin Harrison Jr. I do believe Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the top receiver in this class. I don't think there's much arguing about it. But then after him, Malik Neighbors, I am not as high on Malik Neighbors as the rest of the media and the rest of football fans are. I think he's going to be a little bit more disappointing than what we think. I think Adonai Mitchell will be better than Malik Neighbors. The next receiver taken, Rome Odunze. He went to Chicago with that loaded wide receiver room. He's going to be battling for targets everywhere. I think he's going to have a better season than Rome Odunze. And then you got to look all the way down to 23, and this is Brian Thomas Jr., and this is around the area where they were saying Adonai Mitchell could go. Brian Thomas, he was a solid receiver, but I believe Brian Thomas is a tall jump ball receiver. In the long run, and this season, I think Adonai Mitchell outperforms. I can go down this list. Xavier Worthy, I just talked about him, his running mate at Texas. He's just a speed guy. He's very skinny, very small. I have worries about him being in the NFL and being durable at that very light stature. Ricky Pearsall, very, very crowded receiver room there in San Francisco. Xavier Leggett, he just had one breakout season, so we'll see if that can continue or if it was just more of a fluke season, and I can go through the list. I'm not going to go through all 10 receivers. But, all in all, I believe Adonai Mitchell is going to have a great season. I think he's going to be a little bit shocking, and everyone's going to be like, oh, well, wow, we should have taken this guy first round. We shouldn't have worried about his attitude problems, and he's going to turn out to be a top half receiver in the league. Maybe not this season just because it's his rookie year, but definitely a top half, or one of the top 3 rookie receivers, and then give it a couple years, and I think he'll be near the top in the NFL in receivers, and definitely leading the Colts with the young duo of him and Anthony Richardson as time goes on.
Kadin, I think that is a fantastic hot take. I don't know if I'm completely on board with you here, but I think you made a compelling case for why he might be better than what the NFL GMs and what NFL fans think that he might be. So it's a good hot take. Don't know if I completely agree with you there, but
well, that's what the hot takes are for.
That's what they're for. Only time will tell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the first episode of season 3. We hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have. We are looking forward to bringing you as much content as we can this season. Remember, you can catch us either Wednesday night or Thursday mornings when those episodes drop to give you the recap, the latest news, and our pick'ems for the week. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of every episode where we're going to give you another fun segment just like Kadin's Hail Mary and a lot more just like it. So we're going to catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Catch you next episode.